Grandparents found guilty of 2009 murder of former son-in-law. A jury has found an elderly couple, Cedric and Nolene Jordan, guilty of the shooting murder of their former son-in-law, Shane Barker, in 2009. The Jordans were accused of using an elimination matrix to plan and carry out the murder, which took 11 years to charge. Barker was allegedly murdered after a family dispute over custody of his children. The motive for the killing was described as deep-seated resentment and anger. The case has shocked the community and raised questions about the responsibility of grandparents in custody battles. Tasmanian couple found guilty of 2009 murder of ex-son-in-law. A Tasmanian couple has been found guilty of murdering their former son-in-law, Shane Jeffrey Barker, outside his Campbelltown home in 2009. Cedric Harper Jordan and Nolene June Jordan, of Swansea, were on trial for the past 10 weeks, and the 12-person jury took 9 hours to unanimously find the pair guilty of murder. Prosecutors allege that Mr. Jordan laid in wait at his former son-in-law's property and shot him out of hatred to get him out of their daughter and granddaughter's lives. The Jordans were charged with murder in 2020 after an 11-year police investigation. Queensland dairy-free yogurt manufacturer COYO sued after UK woman's anaphylaxis death. COYO, a Queensland-based company that manufactures dairy-free coconut yogurt and ice cream, has been sued in the Queensland Supreme Court for up to $10 million after a woman's tragic death in the UK. Celia Marsh, 42, died in 2017 from anaphylaxis after consuming a wrap that contained COYO's coconut yogurt, which was licensed exclusively to UK-based company Planet Coconut. An investigation found the product contained milk protein. Planet Coconut alleges that COYO withheld information about the risk of contamination and is seeking damages for breach of contract and misleading or deceptive conduct. COYO denies these allegations and has countered with its own lawsuit. Catholic Education Tasmania reviews discriminatory religious course after criticism. Catholic Education Tasmania is reviewing its Good News for Living syllabus, a religious instruction course planned for college students next year. The course, which promotes traditional marriage, has been criticised for being discriminatory by an LGBTIQA+ support group. The course outline is also being questioned as it requires teachers to be unambiguous in the clarity of their articulation of Catholic teaching on marriage and sexuality. The Independent Education Union (IEU) has questioned the lack of consultation during the development of the course. Teachers have raised concerns about some of its content, such as the role of gender. Unusual winter rainfall is on the way. Here's what it means for Queensland. Queenslanders should brace themselves for an unusual weather event as widespread and significant rainfall is predicted to hit the state. The rain will bring a cool change, after record-breaking winter maximum temperatures in some parts of Queensland. The Bureau of Meteorology has warned that the rain might cause some impacts, given its unusual nature. While some areas will receive up to 100 mm rainfall, it is still unclear where the biggest falls will be. This weather event is one of the largest widespread weather events the state has seen in recent years and is predicted to reach the east coast on Monday before moving offshore. Outback Gang. The Jon Bon Jovi Boys on NT police radar after months of destruction and unrest. The Jon Bon Jovi Boys, or Jovi Boys, hail from a remote community of less than 200 people. Residents there say they're terrorizing the community and they've had enough of their bad behavior. The group is comprised of young men between 15 and 20 years old who have been on the radar of police due to unrest in Pepperminati and following a string of alleged crime sprees across Darwin and its neighbouring city of Palmerston. The Jovi Boys have also made themselves a presence on social media, where they post images and videos riding in stolen vehicles and jeering at their victims. Court rules Zachary Rolfe must give evidence at Kumanjayi Walker inquest. The Northern Territory Court of Appeal has dismissed former NT Police Constable Zachary Rolfe's bid to avoid questions at the coronial inquest into the death of Kumanjayi Walker. The 3 judges have ruled that he can be forced to give evidence. Mr. Rolfe was found not guilty of any charge relating to the death of Mr. Walker in March last year. The inquest into Mr. Walker's death has cast a wide net, as the coroner investigates broad issues including the culture of the NT police force, members' use of force and disadvantage in remote parts of the Northern Territory. Stone artefacts discovered 14 metres underwater at Australia's deepest known ancient Aboriginal site. Researchers have discovered 4 more ancient stone artefacts at an underwater site off the Pilbara coast, confirming its status as Australia's deepest known ancient Aboriginal site. The discovery is considered critical evidence of significant changes in the landscape and provides a rare insight into the lives of Indigenous Australians around 9,000 years ago. The underwater site was discovered in 2019, and scientists from Flinders University continue to study the region, with the potential for thousands more sites to be found offshore. The discovery highlights the need for more comprehensive laws to protect ancient Indigenous sites. Australia's military support to Ukraine falls short. Australia's latest package of military and humanitarian support to Ukraine worth $110 million has been criticised by some as being too small and tokenistic. The package includes 70 military vehicles and a supply of 105 mm artillery shells. However, the primary issue is the supply of obsolete M113 armoured personnel carriers that date back to the Vietnam War. Ukraine has requested Australian-designed and built Hawkei armoured vehicles, but Australia has so far declined to provide them. As Ukraine continues to fight against Russia's invasion, Australia needs to step up and provide the military support that Ukraine desperately needs. Pro-Putin military bloggers claim Australian-built cardboard drone was brought down inside Russia. Photos have surfaced online suggesting that an Australian-made drone crashed within Russian territory with an explosive attached to it. The unverified images of the damaged unmanned aerial vehicle (UAV), which appear to have a radio detonator, were posted on multiple pro-Putin social media accounts in the past week. According to Russian-language posts, the drone was manufactured by Australian company SYPAQ Systems, which has been exporting cardboard drones in flat packs to Ukraine's military for several months. The exact cost of the drones has not been publicly revealed, but Ukraine's military uses them for dropping bombs, delivering supplies, and reconnaissance missions. Private ambulance crews directed to contract jobs on day of Amesbury school bus crash, workers allege. Private ambulance crews were allegedly directed to do non-urgent private contract jobs instead of helping at the Amesbury school bus crash site last month. The workers claim that the ambulance operators prioritize profit over patient care. Multiple students were severely injured in the crash, but at least 2 non-emergency patient transport crews refused to help. The workers further claim that the same thing is happening every day in the sector and that operators pull crews from Ambulance Victoria to cover private shifts that pay more. The Andrews government is reviewing the system's performance, and a final report is expected by the end of the year. Sydney businessman warned by suspected US spy to leave China, court hears. A Sydney businessman, Alexander Ciesurgo, 55, who is accused of selling Australian defence and security secrets in China, was warned to leave the country immediately by an American contact who he suspected was a US intelligence operative, his lawyer told a Sydney court. Mr. Ciesurgo is the first person to be charged with the offence, which attracts a jail term of up to 15 years under laws introduced by the Turnbull government in 2018. Mr. Ciesurgo's legal representatives continued to fight for his bail, and the police applied for suppression orders concerning the case. Gambling ads to be banned in Australia within 3 years to combat addiction crisis. A parliamentary committee has called on the Australian government to ban gambling advertising during sporting events within 3 years to tackle the nation's addiction crisis. The committee made 31 recommendations on how the industry should be regulated, including a phased ban on all advertising directing punters to websites and apps to place bets. It also proposed greater federal oversight of the sector. The recommendations came after the inquiry into the harm posed by online gambling revealed devastating evidence from people who had suffered as a result of being hooked on online gambling. Alice Springs crime rate hits 4-year low during month of May. Crime rates in Alice Springs have dropped to its lowest level in 4 years, according to the Northern Territory Police. The month of May was the quietest recorded by police in Alice Springs since 2019, with new alcohol restrictions possibly contributing to the decline. The restrictions include limited bottle shop trading hours, alcohol-free days, and a cap on purchases. Alcohol bans were also reinstated in Central Australia in February. People's Alcohol Action Coalition spokesperson John Boffa said the town had seen a drop in assaults and property offences since the alcohol restrictions were introduced, demonstrating that the measures were helping to reduce harm in the community. Title: This 17-month-old was allegedly murdered. Here's what we know so far about Ronan's death. On a quiet suburban street in Adelaide's southwest, residents are devastated by allegations that a toddler may have been murdered in their neighbourhood. Warning: this story contains details readers may find distressing. Police have launched a murder investigation into the death of a 17-month-old child named Ronan. He suffered critical head and internal injuries, which were deemed not survivable. The incident took place on June 7, and Ronan passed away 2 days later. The South Australian Police are focusing on events at a property on Ferguson Street in Glenelg North, where Ronan had been staying with friends. Source: ABC News. Higher power prices: that new normal as Australia moves towards cleaner future. Consumers in Australia should brace themselves for a bumpy ride over the next decade, as the country continues to transition towards clean energy. According to energy experts, households and businesses will need to invest in green technology to relieve the increasing volatility in energy markets. Although financial gain is the main driver of solar, it's inevitable that higher prices will flow through to consumer bills as they help fund the huge investments needed in renewable generation, and support services like batteries and pumped hydro. As the country moves towards a cleaner future, this may prove to be the new normal for energy prices. ACT government depends on Commonwealth's help to address cost of living. The ACT budget, released yesterday, aims to address the cost of living pressures faced by Canberrans due to interest rate rises and slow wage growth. The budget promises to alleviate these fears through subsidy programs and an offer of free preschool for 3-year-olds. However, the government's plans depend on federal support, including the $10 billion Housing Australia Future Fund to halve Housing Act's waiting list for social and affordable housing, and the $50 million share of the $2 billion social housing spend announced by the Prime Minister. The government's outlook and plans are cooperative with the Commonwealth to ensure the success of the initiatives. Pilot dies in helicopter crash during mustering operations on remote station. A highly experienced pilot has tragically lost their life after a helicopter crash during mustering operations on Lumbunya Station in the Northern Territory. The crash occurred on Tuesday afternoon and is being investigated by the NT Police. Top End Mustering, the helicopter charter company, released a statement expressing their deepest condolences to the family and friends of the pilot, as well as their own team who are devastated by the loss. The safety of their employees and clients is always their highest priority, and they are working closely with the relevant authorities in their investigation process. Deadly Russian missile strikes hit popular restaurant in Ukraine's Donetsk region, killing 4. At least 4 people died and 42 others were injured when 2 Russian missiles hit a popular restaurant in the eastern Ukrainian city of Kramatorsk on Tuesday evening. Emergency services rushed to the scene to search for casualties as residents watched in horror. The restaurant was left completely destroyed, with twisted metal beams and shattered windows, while a man in military trousers and boots was carried away on a stretcher. Kramatorsk is a key city in the region and has been a frequent target of Russian attacks. The US and Australia have condemned the strikes and pledged continued support to Ukraine. Donald Trump says recording of him discussing secret documents is actually an exoneration. A newly surfaced audio recording of former U.S. President Donald Trump discussing secret documents he had apparently held after leaving the White House has been released. In the recording, Mr. Trump acknowledges that the documents had not been declassified yet but still possesses them. The recording was aired by U.S. media and quoted by special counsel Jack Smith in his indictment of Mr. Trump on charges of mishandling classified documents. Mr. Trump denies 37 counts of willfully mishandling U.S. government secrets and conspiring to prevent their return. He called Mr. Smith deranged and accused him of illegally leaking and mischaracterizing the tape. Prison guard misconduct contributed to Jeffrey Epstein's suicide, says report. The U.S. Justice Department's internal watchdog has released a report which blames guards at Manhattan's Metropolitan Correctional Center for Jeffrey Epstein's death in 2019. The report accuses 13 Federal Bureau of Prisons (BOP) employees of misconduct and dereliction of their duties. It claims the guards failed to check on Epstein for hours before he killed himself and also failed to search his cell as required. The report also found other serious operational flaws such as failing to upgrade camera surveillance systems and understaffing facilities. Epstein was awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges when he died. 2 jail guards were later charged for falsifying prison records to make it appear as though they had conducted routine checks on Epstein prior to his suicide. Woman dies at scene of retirement home blaze in New South Wales. A woman has died in a fire at a retirement village in Yamba, New South Wales. The fire broke out at Palm Lakes Resort on the north coast shortly after 9 p.m., and firefighters discovered the woman with smoke inhalation. The victim, presumed to be 73, received medical attention from paramedics but died at the scene. Investigations into the cause of the blaze are underway, and forensic teams and specialist investigators are expected to arrive at the scene. The fire is believed to be contained to the woman's unit. Title: New South Wales detectives recommend charges against William Tyrrell's foster mother over toddler's disappearance. New South Wales detectives have recommended that William Tyrrell's foster mother be charged with concealing the death of the toddler in 2014. Strike Force Roseanne, the team investigating the disappearance of the 3-year-old, gave evidence to the Director of Public Prosecutions alleging that the foster mother covered up his death, but did not cause it. Police have referred the case to prosecutors, who will decide whether to pursue charges. If the DPP decides not to lay charges, William's case will go back to the Deputy State Coroner. No charges have ever been laid in relation to William's disappearance. A Room with a View actor Julian Sands confirmed dead after hike. British-born actor Julian Sands, best known for his role in the Oscar-celebrated film A Room with a View, has been confirmed dead, 5 months after he went missing during a hike in snow-covered mountains near Los Angeles. The San Bernardino County coroner confirmed that the mostly skeletal human remains discovered by hikers in the area where Sands, 65, vanished belonged to the actor. Despite weather advisories warning of treacherous conditions, Sands had ventured into the area alone. Sands began his career with supporting roles in films such as Oxford Blues and The Killing Fields before moving to California in the 1980s. Car crashes into building in Adelaide's inner south. Emergency services rushed to the scene of a serious crash on Goodwood Road in DAW Park, Adelaide, after a car collided with a building early this morning. The accident occurred at around 3:30 a.m., and all lanes travelling in both directions on Goodwood Road have been blocked from Dawes Road and Springbank Road until Piccadilly Crescent. Police have requested drivers to avoid the area, and investigations into the incident are ongoing. More details to come. Honorary Oscars are awarded to a select few recipients. Angela Bassett will be one of them. Angela Bassett may have gone home empty-handed at the Oscars in March, but she'll be getting a golden statuette this year after all. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences has announced that the esteemed actress will be one of the recipients of the honorary Oscars. This prestigious award, given to those who have made exceptional contributions to the film industry, recognizes Bassett's outstanding talent and remarkable career. With her powerful performances in films such as What's Love Got to Do with It and Black Panther, this recognition is well deserved. Congratulations, Angela. 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 Queen Victoria Market to undergo historic $1.7 billion redevelopment amid community concerns. The City of Melbourne has revealed its $1.7 billion plan to transform Queen Victoria Market, including 3 towers with apartments and a new People's Park built by construction firm Lendlease. The development will create more than 4,000 jobs and affordable housing for students, with the council aiming to generate over $1 billion in economic activity. However, Friends of the Queen Vic Market president Mary Lou Howie said the redevelopment had been a contentious issue for a decade and that traders had been told to move their goods from Franklin Street at their own expense. The development is expected to begin in 2024 and be completed over the next 5 years. Taylor Swift pre-sale tickets are released today. Sellers are braced for huge demand. Taylor Swift is coming to Australia for her Eras tour, and fans are eagerly waiting to secure their spots for the shows. Pre-sale tickets for Sydney and Melbourne are being released today, with general public tickets going on sale on Friday. The earlier pre-sale event on Monday, which only offered the 2 most expensive tickets, crashed the American Express website due to high demand. Ticketek, the official seller of Taylor Swift Era Tour tickets in Australia, is braced for another wave of high demand. The company advises fans to limit their purchase to 4 tickets per customer to avoid cancellation. 14-year-old girl the driver in fatal collision, police say. A 14-year-old girl is under police guard after allegedly driving a vehicle in northern Victoria that collided with a truck, killing a woman passenger. The crash occurred in Loxley at about 8:30 a.m. this morning. The teenager was travelling along the Hume Highway in a grey Holden Captiva wagon when she collided with a truck near Alexandersons Road. The female passenger in the front seat of the vehicle died at the scene. The driver sustained non-life-threatening injuries and was flown to the hospital under police guard. The investigation is ongoing. Link, read more. Inflation falls sharply as fuel prices tumble. The latest monthly consumer price indicator shows inflation fell sharply to 5.6% over the 12 months to May, down from 6.8% in April. This drop in inflation can be attributed to the significant decrease in fuel prices during the same period. As fuel costs contribute to a wide range of goods and services, this decline is expected to have a positive impact on consumers' wallets. Economists are hopeful that the downward trend will continue, providing some relief to households facing increasing costs of living.